Hey everyone, welcome back to GSA Schedule Federal Buyers Set Aside Training. This is part 4, step 1, how to do your federal buyer homework and research. You guys know how important this is to me because you can't do things right if you don't do your homework. You have to do homework and research. It's called due diligence in any type of business that you do. Federal contracting, government contracting is the same way. You can win big if you do what you're supposed to do. So part 4 has a few different sections to it. I broke it down because this is the important part where you need to take the steps one by one to get to the actual solicitations and the bids and finding out where the contracts are. But we have to do our homework first. So let's go ahead and get started. As you know, I'm Michelle Brown over Federal Certifications and Training Programs for FedBiz Now and FedBiz Exchange. In this video, I will teach you how to do your research and how to locate federal buyers in your industry. Okay, this is just the beginning, but again, I've broken this down. I want you to do this step by step because it is a lot. I know it is. I teach this stuff and I know it can be overwhelming. Sometimes when things are overwhelming, you tune it out. So let's go step by step, and then it'll be broken down into videos so that you can watch it anytime you're ready. You want to take a day and, put it aside to get this stuff done. That's the best way to do it. That's the way I do some of my best work. So here we go. The key is your codes, your NAICS codes and your PSC codes. The key is the codes. So you have to make sure you're using the right code. These codes are everything. They're the beginning. So we're talking about your NAICS codes, which are NAICE codes, and your PSC codes. So NAICE codes, you guys know what those are. That's the higher level. But PSC codes, those are the codes, they're called product service codes. PSC stands for product service codes. Those are the codes that really help you to identify what you do. That's the description of what you do. You could be using an NAICS code, then you run a report using the NAICS code because the system says that's the right code to use, and then you look at the PSC codes and they describe what you're supposed to do or what that product or service is, and you read that description and you say, that's not what I do. The PSC code doesn't identify what you do properly, neither does the description, because in our reports, for research, you get a column with award description, which is really, really good. Then you get a column with the PSC code description. So you'll find out what I mean, but just understand how important that is. And then most of you think you're using the right codes already based on what you were told. You weren't told the wrong thing. They just didn't tell you the other side of the rule. That the federal contracting officers and the people that do the buying, the federal buyers, they're just not using and following the same rules that you are. They can choose their own codes, and they may not think that they need to use the same codes that you do, whether it's NAICS or even if you do know about PSC codes already. Doesn't mean they're using the same one, but most of the time people can get on the same page with the PSC codes, most of the time. But the key and the point is you must do and use the codes that your buyers are using, period. So most of you never even consider your PSC codes. Make PSC codes a part of your life. Once you learn what they are with this research, go back into SAM and update your SAM, because trust me, if a federal buyer is looking for someone that has the right codes, and when I say right, I mean your codes could be right to you and to me, and to the system, but if the buyer is not using those codes, they don't matter. So you don't have to take out your old codes. You can leave those in, but you need to put in the codes that your buyer is using. The buyers that you discover in your research, no matter what agency it is, you change it to the same codes that they're using. Same thing with NAICS codes, NAICE codes as some of you call them. Change it to whatever they're using. And I shouldn't say change it, I'll say update. add. PSC codes, most of you don't have those in. And if you do, you don't even understand how to use them. They're very, very valuable. And then the PSC codes really do accurately describe your product or service. And if you see a PSC code and it doesn't look like it describes your product or service, then that's not the code that the buyers are likely to be using. Or it could be the opposite. What if the buyer is just using something completely wrong? You use something completely wrong because it's what he's using. He's buying what you're selling. So use the codes that he or she is using. And then regardless, you must use what the federal buyers are using. I know I sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but that's just the way it is. We don't need to fight that battle. It's not even worth it. We'd have to fight every agency about that. So let's do what they do. And I guarantee you this, your competitors are doing what they do. That's how come your competitors are winning. You have to know where the opportunities are. You will not get anywhere if you don't know where the opportunities are. Step 1, run your spending reports. So in this step, you will go to usaspending.gov and click on Advanced Data Search to start running your report. I'm going to walk through all of this with you, but you know how I am. I'm very detailed, so I just want to walk you through what we're going to do. So you're going to use your NAICS codes or NACE codes and your PSC codes. You're also going to use your keyword descriptions if you need to. Now, you're not going to do all three at the same time. You're going to do one report at a time. One NACE codes per report. Now, could you put all of that in the same report together? Yes, but you will not get accurate results. You need to know what's working. So you're making it easier when you do one at a time. You're not going to run a report for PSC codes yet because you don't know what they are. Once you learn what the PSC codes are, you may or may not need to run a report on PSC codes. Maybe your NAICS codes will give you everything. But if your NAICS codes are not identifying the best opportunities for you, then you need to run the PSC codes. And if that doesn't work, then you run keyword descriptions. And your PSC codes and your keyword descriptions will be based on a lot of your research, but you have to start somewhere. Sometimes you start with a small amount of information and you get bits and pieces, and then you start getting a lot. You'll see what I mean. And then you run your first report using your primary NACE codes or your NAICS code. Your primary NAICS code that you use in SAM. Start there. Then you can run the other ones. So you're going to have 3, 4, 5 different reports. Now, does that sound like a lot? Yes, but you don't have to do this all the time. You just need to find out where you're supposed to be. And if you ever want to add another service or another product, you just run reports on that service or that product. But what's important is that you need to determine that you're using the right codes. And then you run individual reports for each NAICS code, and then you write down the PSC codes that are in the reports. So when you run a report, you're going to see everything in that report. And it's just wonderful because it's very enlightening. It tells you where you need to be, whose space you need to get in. Do you need to be in the space where the Department of Energy is, in a specific department? You can learn these things after you do your research. That's what it's for. You don't want to chase things that are non-existent. You want to be in the right space. Then you use your report by cleaning it up, and then and I give you instructions for that, and then you review and analyze. Okay, so this is the report we're going to run. I have everything on the slide so I can walk you through what it looks like. This is how we start off doing our research. So the first things we're going to look for is when we go to usaspending.gov, we're going to look to the left, and we're going to choose the types of search criteria under the advanced search key. So we clicked on advanced search and we got all of these different categories. I suggest that you use or that you choose down here at the bottom where it says type of set aside. There's a blue arrow down there. You're going to choose small business set-asides and small disadvantaged businesses, which would be SDB. And the reason you want to do that, you want to choose total small business because you need to stay in the total small business arena. Your competition is small in that arena. You don't have to deal with these big guys, and it helps you to win. It's a lot easier to win, and it helps you to win faster. Because a lot of small businesses, even though there may be a lot out there that do what you do, they don't bid, they don't do the things that they should do because it is difficult and challenging to understand step by step what to do. Even I have to remember, I can't take for granted that you guys are getting this. So I'll repeat myself a lot to help things to start sinking in. That's just the way trainers do. Okay? And then your research will show that your competition is very minimal, just like I said, but you have to do the research. And then when you do the research, you can see how many people bid on a specific opportunity. They only chose one or choose one, but it's interesting to see that only 2 people bid on something. It's unbelievable sometimes. And you could be one of those 2 people. So you need to stay on top of it. But if you were in full and open competition, like dealing with the big guys, oh, you'd be competing with 100 people, 200, maybe even 1,000. But with small business, it's a winner. And especially if you're a small business and you're a veteran. You're a small business and you have a GSA schedule. You're a small business, you have a GSA schedule, and you're a veteran and you have an 8A. You have a lot of opportunities because of that. You can be in all of these different spaces and be very valuable to a buyer because they have to meet their goals. Remember, that's what set-aside goals are. They're goals for each of those categories. Women, minorities, total small business, and you can be just a small business, period, have your GSA, and that will help you win, period. When you compete under full and open, I just kind of explained that. It's just too much. Unless you have a very unique niche, you don't ever want to compete under full and open competition. You'll be competing with thousands and hundreds of other firms or small or other businesses. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you see up here to the left at the top, in case you can't see my arrow, you could put in a keyword if you need to, but start out with your NAICS codes. Just start out with that, your primary code, and see how it does. If you don't get anything, that's when you use a keyword. Then you're going to choose the time period, which most of the time you should do at least 2 to 3. I'm talking 2018, 2017, maybe even 2016. Then you need to look at the award type. You're only going to look at contracts. If you ever want to look at grants, you can always come back and look at grants. Don't do both of them together. Just focus on one thing at a time. Then you're going to put in your NAICS code, the primary one that you use in SAM. It would be 6 digits, and you're going to put, here's an example right in here. It's a little light, but 336411, and then there is a search tool that comes up. You hit search, and then it becomes part of the request for the report. PSC code, you're not going to put that in because you don't know what they are. If you do know what they are, run a separate report. Don't run these together. Okay, and then down here, I mentioned this, but here are the types of set-asides. If you want to choose for all 8As, because you're looking for 8A information, that's fine. 8As with GSA schedules, that's fine, but that's not what you're doing. You're looking for regular total small business and small disadvantaged businesses, and it would be under type of set-aside, which here's a really good picture of that down here. Total small business. Okay, and then don't do this SDV right here. Don't do service disabled, or don't do small disadvantaged business set aside in 8A. Don't do that one because that one includes 8A. If you could do just the total small business, you would be fine. And then all you're going to do after you choose that is hit the search button, and you will get a report that looks like this. Okay, So this was 2018, 2017, total small business, the number of contracts for those years, and it is total small business set aside. Looks like there were 467,000 so far. This is the report you're looking at. Now, for you, you put in your NAICS code, so your report is going to be much smaller than mine. Then, once we've asked for the report, then we are going to click the download button right here. This will pop up. You're going to click award, and then it's going to ask you if you want everything. You're going to say yes, everything, and it will start to generate a report for you. And when it's ready, it will pop up and it will look like this. It'll pop up just like this. So don't forget, when you choose award, it'll ask you, pop up another block and say everything. You choose yes, and it will give you this box here. You click OK so that you can go and look and see what's inside. And here's what's inside. Subawards, usually there's nothing on that report. You can take a look if you would like, but here's where all of your prime activity is. So here is where all of the recipients are that won contracts for 2017 and 18, and they are total small businesses. When you open them up, this is what the prime report looks like. Download it. It looks a mess. It does not look good. I'm going to show you how to clean this up in the next video. Hey guys, thank you for joining me today. See you in the next video. GSA Schedule Federal Buyers Part 4, Step 1B. Please leave me your comments. Go ahead and subscribe and let me know your questions.